There are some people in life who make you feel lighter, not because they fix your problems, but because being around them doesn't require you to shrink. They listen without making your silence seem suspicious. They sit with your tiredness without trying to label it. And in their presence, you don't feel the need to perform or pretend. But the truth is, not everyone feels like that. Some people, even without meaning to, carry a certain heaviness that spreads into every space they enter. Not because they are feeling low. Sadness is natural, and there's nothing wrong with it. Everyone has their difficult days, and it's a gift to hold space for someone who's hurting. But this is a different kind of heaviness. It's the kind that drains you. The kind that feeds on constant complaint. The kind that demands your emotional energy again and again, but offers nothing in return. It doesn't pull you down because the person is weak. It pulls you down because they've stopped trying to rise. And this is where Krishna's quiet wisdom from the Gita begins to speak to us. He reminds us, the one who stays steady through joy and sorrow is the one who finds peace. Because liberation isn't found by chasing only what feels good. It comes from remaining centered, even when life turns bitter. But how do we stay centered when we are always surrounded by energy that shakes us? How do we find peace if we are constantly absorbing other people's unrest? Krishna, even in his human form, was deeply aware of this. He loved completely. He cared deeply. But he also chose his company with great clarity. Not out of judgment, but because he knew how to protect his peace. He didn't stay long in places where his presence was only taken for granted. He quietly stepped away from people or situations that kept pulling him back into patterns he had already outgrown. Even when others wanted his attention, if they came only to argue, or feed their ego, or escape their own responsibility, he didn't linger. Not because he lacked compassion, but because he understood something we often forget. Your energy is your responsibility. And sometimes, protecting that energy means stepping away from those who confuse chaos with passion, or mistake constant drama for emotional depth, or seek your presence only to avoid facing themselves. If you've ever noticed how your own peace unravels around certain people, how your thoughts become scattered, how your body feels tired for no reason, it may not be your imagination. Energy is always moving. And if you are not careful, you'll end up carrying feelings that aren't even yours. That's why Krishna reminds us, freedom doesn't come by controlling the world around you. It comes by remaining steady within it. And that inner steadiness often begins with choosing wisely who you let close, what you give your time to, and which voices you allow into your inner space. Now, this doesn't mean we should avoid everyone who's going through a tough time. Pain is part of the human experience. There is something deeply beautiful about sitting with someone who's struggling, especially when they're trying to rise. But there is a difference. There are those who are hurting, but also trying. They may fall, they may stumble, but they still want to move forward. Spending time with them may be tiring, but it's meaningful, because you are witnessing their courage. And then there are those who have grown comfortable in their bitterness. They don't want healing. They want company in their misery. No matter how much light you bring, they'll keep closing the windows. Krishna didn't walk away from pain. But he did walk away from people who use their pain to pull others down with them. That's what he taught us to be mindful of. Not sadness, but the habit of staying stuck. The mindset that refuses to take responsibility. The kind of heaviness that poisons every conversation with hopelessness, while rejecting every chance to grow. So it helps to ask yourself gently, After certain conversations, do you feel more centered or more scattered? Do some people bring you closer to yourself or leave you feeling lost? And when you give your time, does it feel like a gift or something that slowly empties you? You don't need to make a loud announcement about boundaries. Krishna never did. He simply moved with grace. He gave his energy where it could flow. And when it couldn't, he stepped back. No drama, no guilt, just quiet wisdom. Because protecting your peace is not selfish. It's sacred. When your energy is steady, your presence becomes medicine. Not just for you, but for those around you. And when you surround yourself with people who are also trying, who may not be perfect, but are honest, open, and willing to rise, something powerful happens. You begin to remember what you are capable of. You start healing just by being around those who don't demand that you shrink in order to feel seen. That's the kind of company Krishna chose. That's the kind of energy we protect, not by fighting what drains us, but by walking steadily toward what lifts us. So if you've been feeling unusually tired, if your peace feels distant, if you keep replaying conversations that left you unsettled, maybe it's not just in your head. Maybe something, or someone, is sitting too close to your spirit. And maybe this is your quiet reminder. You are allowed to walk away from what dims you. Not because you don't care, but because, finally, you do.